is a videotape of the Carrington Butler House in Bluemont, Virginia. Mr. Roger Arthur of Leesburg is filming it, and I, Scott Butler, the present owner, am going to make some comments as we go through the house. We'll look at the house in three parts. The original house, built by Timothy Carrington and his wife, Margaret Shue Carrington, we believe in 1827, and then a wing on the east end, which Mrs. Butler and I built in 1981, and finally a wing on the south, which we built in the last half of the 1970s. Let's first look at the original house of the Carringtons. It is built right on the lot line, on the west lot line, presumably because Timothy Carrington wanted to utilize the rest of the frontage of his property for a store, and hence we have a house abutting the Carrington Butler house as a result of the smaller house on that lot having been expanded around 1900 and joined up to the end of our house. Now let's look at the facade of the Carrington house. It's 5 bays across the front. It's a house that's built on 3 levels, and we are looking at 2 levels from the front. We will see 3 levels on the back side. The windows in the lower level on the front are 9/6 window sash, and upstairs they're 6/6. The porch, which is a Greek Revival, in the Greek Revival style, had a pencil mark 1853 up in the pediment when we removed the paint. So that we don't know if it was a replacement for an earlier porch or if it was a new addition at that time. The one interesting detail that I would like to point out right now is a opening that apparently was originally another door on the front. It's behind this boxwood bush. You can't see it too well, but there is a joint going up where it accommodated a large door, and then it was replaced later by a window. We will now move on down to look at the east wing, which we added in 1981. Before we leave the old section of the house, let's zero in on a date stone high up in the chimney. Unfortunately, the date is not legible at the present time, but we know from a newspaper article written in 1900 that the figures 1, 8, and the last figure 7 were still legible. The third figure was illegible even then. The old part of the house, of course, has an attic. You see the two windows in the attic, and it is framed with rafters joined by wooden pegs. The east wing, which we are now looking at, was built from stone on the property that had once served as the foundation of some frame structures. The frame structures were torn down in 1945, and the stone was all allowed to fall into a big pile. We were lucky to have it, and grateful that we could use it to build a fairly closely matching wing. The original part of the house, of course, has 2 massive chimneys, and we have put another massive chimney on this wing to match. Altogether, the house has 6 fireplaces. Now we will go around to the south side of the house. On our way around the house, we look at diagonally across the street at Clayton Hall, 1797. The date stone is legible. It's up under the eaves there on the gable end of the roof. We also see the old stone and frame barn. And Bluemont is now a historic district. And these are the 2 only stone houses in the village. We became a historic district in 1984, and we are listed on the Virginia Landmarks Register and the National Register of Historic Places, which gives us a little protection here. We're looking at the east wing now from the south and east ends. The lower level is a garage, and the upper level is a large bedroom and bath dressing room, which was built for Mrs. Butler's father when we moved out here in 1981. Just beyond, you will see the south wing, which we added in the latter part of the 70s. It is a kitchen and utility and laboratory, and a porch we added on the back side. This lot is about a half acre in size. The house being built right on the road, the old Snickersville Turnpike. Snickersville having been the name of Bluemont all through the 19th century. We have most of our living area here in the back. And you will notice as we come around to look at the south side of the Carrington house, there are only 3 bays across up on the top level. There were probably 5 across on the middle level, and then you see 1 window down on the lower level. The architect who helped us with the wings was named William Kerfoot, and the contractor was Kenneth Reed. The French doors, the lower level, allow a good deal of light into that room. In the wintertime, the sun gets low and pretty well fills up the room. The roof is a standing seam turn roof. Welcome to the interior of the Carrington house. The exterior measures 43 feet by 20 feet. And now I'll give you some dimensions of the interior as we go in. We are entering the hall, which is 20 feet deep by 7 feet wide. Virginia Historic Landmarks Commission made a survey of Loudoun County. They reported that the interior woodwork in this house, especially the parlor mantel, is exceptional. And I would like to just point out a few details of the mantel while we're here. First of all, I'll mention that this room measures about 15 feet by 16 and a half feet. And now let me go over here to the mantel. And I'm just going to quote the descriptions that are given. First of all, I would note that this pilaster is the same as the newel post on the stairway It's just a half section. The report says that refers to the paneled pilasters here, a reeded central frieze panel here, carved fans here and here, trefoils. These they look like stylized fleur-de-lis on either side there, and diagonally reeded molding and a molded shelf up here. It also refers to the sloping window jambs and to the reading which is in them right here. This room is probably the most elegant of the rooms in the house, and is rather surprising for a house of this period and in this location, because most of the country houses out here do not have this degree of sophistication in the woodwork. It may be that because Timothy Carrington married a woman from Alexandria that she insisted on this quality of interior. I'd also call attention to the chair rail around the room, which has a good deal of sophisticated detail in it. It's not just a plain board. And the double moldings around the architrave around the window. All of the woodwork in this room was original, and of course there's also this cupboard beside the fireplace, which is made possible by the fact that all of the chimneys are inset into the house, which gives you either an alcove or a cupboard on either side. This chimney at this end of the house, at the west end of the house, has 3 fireplaces on it, one on each floor, and we'll see the other 2 as we go through the house. On the front door, as you enter the hall, there is a 4-light transom, which contains a piece of old glass. Also of interest is the reading on both the front side and the back side of the door jamb, similar to what you have in the living room. The same detail is on this back door, which is, of course, very low, as so often happened in these old houses. This is barely 6 feet high. So people with tall stature would have a hard time living in this house. Now we'll go into the dining room. This room, we believe, served as a tavern during the ownership of several people here. It's much more simple in detail than the living room. Again, it has the sloping reveals at the windows, but no decoration on them, and the chair rail is the same. The mantel is very plain. One interesting detail of the house when we bought it was the old original door knobs on this dining room door. This works by a spring lever and simply raises up and lowers into a groove. The stairs are decorated with scroll brackets, and all of this woodwork was was here when we bought the house. Unfortunately, it was all painted over with white enamel paint, and some of the walls had wallpaper on, which we had to remove. We have painted the walls throughout the house with simulated whitewash, a Martin Sanur product, which gives texture and also absorbs the sunlight and reduces glare. We found it very satisfactory. There are 5 posts on the stair, in addition to the simple banisters. And as you have noted on the living room mantel, they are reproduced in half sections. As you come up the stairs to the landing, you'll notice a ledge at the back of the landing, which I originally thought was just for decorative purposes. But later I learned that in the building of these stone houses, as was frequently done, they had insets at each floor level, so that there was a ledge provided for the joist to rest on for the next floor. So we have a setback inside the stone wall at each level. In this case, it's about 5 inches. As a result of these setbacks, we have a thinning of the walls as you go upstairs. Now, down in the lowest level, lower level, why the walls are 2 feet thick. On the first level, they're 20 inches thick, and at this level, they're 16 inches thick. As you come up the stairs, the first bedroom is to the right. It's a small bedroom, approximately 14 feet by 10 feet, but we've put a large bed in it. It has a small fireplace, one of 5 in the original house, and we've also put a modern closet in, for as you know, in the old houses they rarely had closets. Along that wall, there is another door which leads to a modern dressing room and bath. The room did not have a fireplace in it and served the purpose very well. This is the west bedroom over the living room or parlor. It also has a fairly ornate mantel with a cupboard at the end, similar to the one in those parlors. Chair rail throughout the entire upper 2 levels of the house. You'll see from the yardstick held up at the door jamb here how deep the walls are on this middle level of the house. And this is a good example. I'll go all the way down. Right, okay. Now you're down at the lower level of the house and in the room that we call the library. The joists here are logs, peeled logs that rest on the stone walls, front and back. This is an example of what I was speaking of the joists resting on the ledge in the stonework. We have put down a brick floor on this level in all three rooms, and we've turned this into a library. Place is probably the old cooking fireplace. It's quite large. It has old wooden lintel across the top. As you can see, it had burned there, or else there had been a stovepipe at one time, and we filled it in with stone. Here's the old crane that was in the house when we bought it, a hook to put the pots on, and a chain also. And this large stone hearth was here. We put the step around in order to be able to get up on it a little more easily. Over here is a window which is very deep recess. It's about 2 feet. As I said, the stonework is thicker down at this level. Okay. Now we'll go into the last room of the old Carrington house. This is really kind of off limits because it isn't much to look at. It's a shop, and we have in it most of the utilities for the house. We have electric baseboard heat, and then we have in this closet a electric hot water heater, cold water storage tank, and over here is the air conditioning unit for the lower 2 floors of the house. The other unit is up in the attic, and that cools the top floor. Now we'll go into the lower level of the south wing of the house, which serves as what we call the terrace room. We have some more library and a piano in here, several closets. And this room opens out directly on the downstairs porch and leads out to the back of the yard and the garden. This is the upstairs section of the south wing, which we added to the house. And we have a lavatory and coat closet, and a utility room and pantry here. And the back door opens onto an upstairs porch with a Chippendale railing. From here we can look over and see the old log Snickersville Academy, built in 1825, which was the first school and place of worship in Bluemont, then Snickersville. And the rest of this wing is the kitchen, and we won't spend much time here. It's a modern kitchen. Now, can I go to the dining? Oh. From the kitchen, we enter the dining room again and pass over to the east wing, which we added in 1981. It's reached by a narrow hall with an outside entrance. It's a very large room, which was designed as a bedroom, sitting room for my wife. In this east addition, we have tried to match the feel of the old house, and we have put down, however, a cherry floor instead of pine, simply because it was available when we wanted to do it. We also have a fireplace here, which has, instead of a mantel, has a Belection molding around it, and also has some old Delft tiles in the eggplant shade rather than the blue. The bricks on the hearth are square bricks rather than rectangular ones. A great deal in this room was done to please my father-in-law, because he was an antiquarian and liked things to be just the way he liked it.
We'll talk about the alcove.
Yes, right. One detail of this room that may be of interest are these recessed areas on either side of the fireplace. Each one contains 2 closets, and that's very useful for storage. Some are for hanging and some are shelves. I am purposely not commenting on the furnishings of the house on this video film. There's too much to be said, and I really wanted just to cover the history and architecture of the house. A dressing room and bath are off of this room at the beside the bed there, and I think that about covers what needs to be said. And that brings us to a conclusion of this tape, or at least my commentary.